Anything that you've ever known about hamburgers is wrong. We all know what hamburgers are, the iconic beefy patty with cheese and toppings and sandwiched in between two buns. And we've come to love the corporations that sell them, like McDonald's with their Big Mac and nostalgic children's play place, of which half of our parents wouldn't even let us go on because they thought we'd start licking the slide and catch syphilis. But that's just as much part of being a kid as eating mud or torturing small animals. So what did they know? And while hamburgers seem to have an identity that's as American as a coup in a third world country, the reality is...
Hold on, I'll be right back. I need some more water.
Thinking that it was invented around the beginning of the 20th century. However,
I know, right?
That's what the average historian wants you to think, and trust me, I ain't that guy. To find the true origins of the hamburger, we have to travel much further back in time, all the way back to...
There you go. That should be better.
This is gonna take forever. There we go, 2.6 million years ago, I'm not even joking. The discovery of toolmaking was a major milestone in human history, transitioning our ancestors from little beta weirdos gathering berries to alpha male hunters and craftsmen. We started making things that stink. These were basic tools, like hammer stones for skull breaking or sharp stone flakes for cutting, but it allowed them to hunt and process the meat of the animals they encountered. And later on, with the discovery of fire, they were able to utilize these tools to cut up the meat and then form them into patties that closely resemble the hamburger patties of today. So how did they cook these patties over the fire? Well, they required a specialized tool. There is an extensive classified archaeological record in the Smithsonian Archives. Don't ask me how I got access to this. That contains up to 25 highly preserved artifacts of what scholars believe
that's gonna be me after the gym later.
Flipping spatula of today. Beyond that,
I'm gonna go around like 5 and just do legs
in ancient caves in Europe, Africa, and Asia. And these fossils provide us with a rare glimpse into the meat composition of these early hamburgers, including those from large herbivores such as mammoth and bison. These caves also contain other groundbreaking archaeological finds, such as these cave paintings found that depict people eating burgers, giving us an idea of the cultural significance of burgers in our prehistoric ancestors' lives. Now, around 10,000 years ago, the wild ox was first domesticated, which led to a consistent production of beef and milk. This led to the invention of the cheeseburger and an explosion of agriculture, which eventually led to the adoption of the hamburger bun. This was pretty sick because previously patties were placed between two large mushroom caps, as can be seen in this cave painting.
Mushroom caps?
Was we didn't know which ones were poisonous or not, and anyone who figured it out had died. As you can probably tell, the hamburger has always been an enduring part of humanity's history, but let me be the first to tell you, it didn't stop there.
As you do like all the leg machines. I hate the treadmill.
Hamburgers took hold in a variety of cultures across the world, but one of the more notable occasions was in the Roman Republic in 44 BC. Julius Caesar had just declared himself dictator for life of the Roman Republic, and shortly after had banished his son Caesar II, also known as Little Caesar, for his controversial ideas regarding early Roman pizza. This event had a profound impact on the culinary landscape of the Roman Republic, as with banishing his weird son and outlawing the production of pizza, it created a culinary power vacuum. Early Roman cheese cheeseburgers quickly emerged as the main dish that was consumed, as they were easy to prepare and could be consumed quickly. And the cheeseburger's popularity can absolutely be seen in the cultural works and artifacts discovered from this time period. Roman coins from this period heavily feature cheeseburger iconography, demonstrating the importance of this dish in Roman culture. And beyond
honestly,
that,
the
frescoes found in
you just
Pompeii
walk
and
up the
Herculaneum,
Stairmaster,
two cities destroyed by the eruption of Mount
most of the
Vesuvius
time.
in 79 AD. If you were paying attention in school, you would know
yeah,
that.
because then there's things on the sides that you can step on. So then once you start, you can select difficulty and stuff.
The Roman Republic, which facilitated a spread
If I'm
of
thinking of the right
cheeseburger
machine,
culture throughout
which
the
I'm pretty sure I am.
Mediterranean world. And later on, this would lead to great strides in math and science, such as when Greek mathematician Archimedes was able to calculate an even more accurate number for pi when he was inspired by the cheeseburger he was having for lunch. Oh yeah, that's right, pi. We're talking 3.1415.
Oh my God, this man. You'll stare at it next time. Why is it like this?
I'm in Ireland right now, visiting one of the most famous locations in Irish cheeseburger history. The McGillicuddy War occurred here, where they fought over the famous Irish Dubliner cheeseburger. These hallowed walls hold more history of the cheeseburger than I could possibly fathom, and it's really incredible to see it in person. But what I'm really here to talk about is the new gift shop that we opened at the museum. There's brand new items for you to get right now at incorrecthistory.com.
The coast of these foreign lands whispers secrets into my ears. Secrets telling me this is
Not you
the best
liking the song you just said.
So head on over to incorrecthistory.com and get some sweet merch.
Just rapping the fucking pie formula.
Of cheeseburger culture. But who could talk about the spread of cheeseburger culture without, of course, talking about the influence of the Vikings?
Bro, this whole video is just one big joke.
The Danish Viking invasion of England in the early 11th century is a very notable event in
Is that Assassin's Creed character? Oh my
King
God.
Sweyn Forkbeard invaded England in 1013 AD, and they succeeded in kicking ass and taking names across the country, and it allowed Sweyn to be crowned King of England. What most historians don't mention, though, is that one of the factors that led the Danes to success was their cheeseburger-heavy diet. This food gave the Vikings the strength and vitality they needed to fight on the battlefield, as well as endure long marches in harsh conditions. And another key element of the Danish army was their infamous berserkers. Look at that guy. He's scary. Don't want to mess with him.
Well, that's why I'm saying not Assassin's Creed.
Warriors known for their ability to enter into a frenzied state of mind during battle. And they were fueled by a rare variety of Danish cheeseburger known as the bear burger. And if you have a hard time with context clues, that's bear meat. This burger put the berserkers into a wild fury that is known to scholars as a bear burger meat rage. I mean, these guys were absolutely insane. We're talking like ripping people in half, running around the battlefield and roaring like a bear, like they're a furry too into character, but like in a scary way. Some of these berserkers were particularly fearsome and earned their spot in legends, such as Eric Sandwich, who led a group of Vikings on a daring raid on a heavily fortified English castle, discovering a treasure trove of invaluable cheddar cheese. Ragnar Lothbrok, who is known for single-handedly slaying over 100 English soldiers in the Battle of Assadon, all while eating a cheeseburger. And who could forget Gudrun Berson, who led a cavalry of bear-riding berserkers that tore across East Anglia, striking terror into the hearts of the English. When King Sweyn's heir Canute was crowned King of England, he brought the Danish cheeseburger culture with him and is often considered by scholars to be the very first Burger King. And after his death in 1035, the Burger King monarchy sought to expand its influence to the mythical land of Finland, known to us now as Toledo, Ohio. Of course, in the history of the burger, some stories are held by individuals, such is the case with Van Gogh.
Bro, like, ain't no way.
Vincent van Gogh is one of the most celebrated and well-known artists of the modern era. His works, characterized by dynamic brushstrokes and bold colors, are renowned for their emotional intensity and vivid representation of the human condition. Basically, the guy could paint. And while much has been written about Van Gogh's turbulent life and artistic vision, few have chosen to delve into his lesser-known period of inspiration, his dreams of cheeseburgers. Van Gogh's cheeseburger period began in the summer of 1888 in the town of Arles in southern France. Look it up, I dare you. He was there. According to the letters written to his brother Theo, he was plagued by dreams of a mysterious food that he had never encountered before. A sandwich consisting of a juicy beef patty, melted cheese, and crisp lettuce and tomato, all served on a toasted bun. Though initially confused and disoriented by these dreams, Van Gogh soon became fixated on them, painting and sketching images of cheeseburgers in his spare time. And these cheeseburger-inspired works were a departure from his usual subject matter. Instead of making landscapes and portraits, he was creating abstract,
the way he just lies in his videos is amazing.
Cheeseburger Sunrise depicts a towering cheeseburger in a field against a vibrant orange and yellow sky, evoking the feeling of warmth and comfort that Van Gogh associated with the food. And despite the intensity of this cheeseburger-inspired art, Van Gogh never exhibited these works publicly. Scholars speculate that he feared that his peers would reject his unconventional subject matter. I mean, the guy was making giant paintings of cheeseburgers in 1888, so, I mean, it was avant-garde. Nevertheless, the influence of this period can absolutely be seen in Van Gogh's later works, which incorporate elements of his cheeseburger-inspired style. For example, his painting Starry Night Over the Rhone features bold, swirling brushstrokes that evoke the same feeling of movement and energy as his earlier cheeseburger works. And while much of this cheeseburger art has been lost to history, its impact can still be felt in the enduring legacy of one of the world's most beloved artists. Okay, let's talk about World War II.
What? Bro.
America is often considered to be a highly cheeseburger-centric society.
Let's talk about World War II.
And throughout the history of the nation, that could absolutely be argued to be true. However, it wasn't until America involved itself in the European theater in World War II that the cheeseburger really started to take hold of American society. Due to the massive demand that the wartime supply chain placed on American industry, the U.S. government had to enforce food rations on the American public.
The incorrect history of
bread,
burgers.
and various other grocery items were unable to be purchased without a government-issued food coupon. And this was due to the fact that the U.S. government had figured out that cheeseburgers were the ideal food to properly satisfy soldiers
he went
on
from
the
a
front line.
painter
U.S. Army soldiers
to just straight up World War II.
C rations that almost always contained cheeseburgers. And the strength and vitality that the American soldiers got from consuming these C-ration cheeseburgers allowed them to make great strides and turn the tides of the war. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, cheeseburgers beat the Nazis. Some soldiers even reported in these questionably obtained Pentagon files that they obtained a certain level of superhuman ability. Others simply reported having a noticeable increase in sweating, and this was later referred to as a condition known as the meat sweats. Either way, upon return...
I just want to address that he really just straight up said, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, the cheeseburger beat the Nazis.
These soldiers were celebrated for their bravery, and with it, the cheeseburger
was
viewed as an enduring symbol of patriotism. Of course, not all things regarding the history of the burger were sunshine and roses, okay? And that was definitely not the case with the 1985 hamburger murder trial.
And now, World War II. What? Wait.
The 19... trial. Okay? And that was definitely not the case with the 1985 Hamburglar murder trial.
The 1985 Hamburglar murder trial.
The 1985 Hamburglar murder trial was a significant event in American legal history that captivated the nation's attention. The case involved a notorious criminal known as the Hamburglar. Yes, he is real. The Hamburglar was accused of committing regicide towards the reigning monarch of the Burger King Kingdom, Burger King, as he was traveling in and out of his diplomatic trip to the White Castle. Allegedly, the Hamburglar had been witnessed snooping around the area near where the king had been killed by 5 guys who were traveling through the area for a checkers
he's
tournament.
making
2 of the guys,
references.
Allen and Wright, promptly called the police, while the 3 others, Culver Hardy and his brother Carl Jr., attempted to detain the Hamburglar until Officer Big Mac could arrive on the scene to arrest him. Let's just say this did not go as planned, as the Hamburglar would then steal the 5 guys' white Ford Bronco, leading to a 45-minute-long police chase that was televised live on news channels across the nation. It is estimated that over 91 million people were watching these broadcasts. Eventually, the Hamburglar was arrested and placed into custody, and the murder trial would begin. The prosecution's case was based mainly on circumstantial evidence and eyewitness accounts, which suggested that the Hamburglar was the killer. However, the defense team, led by Ronald McDonald and Grimace, suggested that the prosecution's evidence was flawed and that the Hamburglar had been Donald and Grimace suggested that the Hamburglar was the killer. However, the defense team, led by Ronald McDonald and Grimace...
Bro, they did Grimace dirty. They have to do Grimace like this.
suggested that the prosecution's evidence was flawed and that the Hamburglar had been wrongly accused.
Not
One of the more famous
Grimace.
moments from this trial was when the prosecution pressured the Hamburglar to try on one of the critical pieces of evidence. A cartoonish red glove found at the crime scene. Some legal scholars like to argue that the reason why the glove did not fit the Hamburglar was because he was already wearing...
It wasn't even Ronald, it was Grimace that got me. Like, they didn't have to do my man's dirty like that.
An identical red glove, but nonetheless, this resulted in the controversial acquittal of the Hamburglar. This entire situation would later be recounted by the Hamburglar in his biographical true crime book, I Killed the Burger King, or Did I? Hee hee. Despite everyone in the world mysteriously forgetting that the Hamburglar trials ever happened, Burger King would still continue its streak of bad luck, with the...
The
In 1993, Burger
controversy.
King, after suffering the loss of their beloved king 8 years ago, sought means to reinvigorate their brand. What they ended up doing is partnering with popular game developer Nintendo to promote the release of the highly anticipated live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie. This promotional meal included a special burger known as the Bowser Burger, designed to look like Bowser's shell with spikes protruding from the bun. However, what started as a clever marketing strategy ended in a PR disaster for both Burger King and the Mario movie. According to reports, the recipe for these Bowser Burger spikes had accidentally been changed somewhere down the production line after the taste test had concluded. That ain't good. The spikes were initially meant to have a softness that was similar to the bun that they were on top of, but instead they ended up having a hardness of 8.5 Mohs. Mohs is a scale of mineral hardness used in geology, with diamond at the top at 10 and talc at the bottom. In comparison, the human tooth has about a 5 on the Mohs scale, so if you're doing the math, the Bowser Burger spikes were harder than teeth. As a result, many of the customers that ordered the Bowser Burger ended up with injuries, specifically to the roofs of their mouths. Burger King was quick to respond, issuing a public statement and pulling the Bowser Burger from their menu, but the damage had quite literally already been done. Across the nation, there were large, angry mobs of angry moms going from Burger King to Burger King and burning them to the ground. They were fucking pissed, dude. This controversy also affected the Super Mario movie, as parents who had planned to take their children to see the movie became wary of anything associated with the franchise. This created a cloud of doubt over the entire Super Mario brand, and the movie ultimately failed to live up to expectations. I mean, take a look at the box office data. This is a lift from Wikipedia. Just look it up. Of course, this is basic knowledge in the history of burgers, but there are some classified secrets that have eluded even the most experienced historioculinariographer, such as... The year was 2011, and a group of researchers at Stanford University were working on a revolutionary project, a type of burger patty that had the same exact taste and texture of meat, but was made entirely of plants. Some would call it an impossible burger. And while this concept was controversial, the team of researchers believed that this technology could help for breakthroughs in other fields, such as finding the cure for cancer, or solving fusion energy. Hello? And they were on the cusp of success, mind you. They only had a single drop of soy protein left in order to finalize their creation. They were almost there. However, what the researchers were not prepared for was what happened next, because basically without any warning, Hell Portal. Okay, listen, there's a reason why a lot of this history stuff is swept under the rug, and that's because very often in the true history of things, hell portals open and demons emerge. I don't know what to tell you. It's a lot easier to do than you would think, and there's like 100 ways to do it accidentally, and most of the time when it happens, it's a huge pain in the ass. Especially because in this case, this was a class 5 epsilon hell portal, which is, oh god, that is not, because you've got goobos. You don't want to mess with a goobo. Greasy, sentient pillows with no cover. Those ants that ate the guy in Indiana Jones' Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the movie, but like twice as much. It's not good. An entire pride of lions with male pattern balding and an ability to smell fear. That is real bad. That one goose that lives by the pond in the park, you know, the one that's incredibly aggressive and attacks children. Yeah, no, he's here too. Billy Mays, but he doesn't introduce himself. Like in an egotistical way, as if we're supposed to know what his name is already. We're just emotionally intelligent frat guys. That's actually not that bad. Alternates. Bit of a niche reference, but if you know, then you know it's bad. Fat cactus again. I mean, look at the size of that. A perfect taco, except that there's razor blades in it. Halloween candy, except they're filled with marijuana and weed. A little nymph that follows you around and waits until you're in public and then starts just screaming racist shit in your voice. Big, tall giraffes. And then with a machine gun neck.
230.
I have no idea how that's It's gonna look an edit. The researchers were able to close the portal by saying Bloody Mary 3 times in a mirror, but this disaster raised questions about the nature of meddling in forces beyond our understanding. Some saw it as a reminder to not play God, and it was to remind the scientists of their limitations. However, I've known for years that there was a third party in play here. Those who believe that burgers or any food should stay simply to their historical recipes.
Bro, you're confusing me now.
By them.
One. I got it.
Everything that you've ever known about pizza. Everything that you've ever known